How embarrassing.
I was doing something else on the computer, and then I was like, wait a minute, are we added to the stage? What's up?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. A whole lot of things. Whole lot of stuff. Today was kind of cold, and lots of things going on in the news. I don't know. You were just talking about the XRP chart. I don't understand how it's going down because all the news I have is bullish.
Yeah, I don't. It's just, it can't break 234. It cannot break and hold above 234. It's very, very bad. Very bad.
Very wild. Well, how's your day? How are things?
I was good. Came home early. Didn't have much to do. Don't have much to do tomorrow. I got to install a light post tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. Digging in rocky, like the side of a mountain. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Very fun. Very exciting.
What about you?
Well, so when I first came to Maryland, I came by myself first, and then came my dogs later, and then came my parents. So my mom wanted to put carpets that we have, indoor-outdoor carpets, out in the patio, and then the dogs would be out there. And I said, no, Mom, you shouldn't have carpets where the dogs live. So today, 4 years later, she decided she didn't want carpets where the dogs live, so I had to take these massive carpets out from underneath all of the entire patio furniture. So, it was definitely easier, Yeah. And then the other thing was just my dad was worried about salt and chips. And so my mom took them, rinsed them, and then fried them in the air fryer. And I thought that was the craziest thing.
That's extremely crazy.
It was hilarious. I was literally like crying, and she was like, "Why are you laughing?" I was like, "Don't worry about it." I called my little brother. I was like, "Can you believe this?" And a lot of people on Twitter, they've said that, that's true love. So, I mean, I love it. It was great. And, I ate some of those rinsed, air-dried potato chips. They weren't bad, and they were less salty.
Oh, I'm sure they were. Sure, they tasted just like a potato.
Yeah. Something like that. But, I mean, that's what we got. Have a whole lot of articles here today. So let's go ahead and reset the room, and let's get into market watch. Let's see what's going on.
All right. Everybody, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell. If you are on X, tag some DJs, give us a repost. We go live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. PST, bringing you the daily news nightly. And I would just like to say, hold on, before we go in, hold on. I like where your head's at, Fozzie, but it seems like a little bit of an overkill. Just one light pole, not many. Maybe a quarter stick. Well, I'll just use a quarter stick. How about that? All right, real quick before we get into an update, we were looking through this. I didn't even know that Walrus token had dropped. I knew the main net went live. I didn't know they did the distribution, but Walrus is the decentralized storage play on Sui. It is now live, and it is up 30%. It looks like it peaked at about 60 cents, so it came back down, up about 30%. Now I just got to figure out how to turn my NFT into Walrus tokens so I can dump. So what you do with airdrops. Airdrops, dump them. If you believe in it, buy back into it because it will go down. But let's get the freshest data. All right, we're down another 1.5% today. And we're coming in at $2.951 trillion. Low volume again, coming in at 92 billion. Bitcoin dominance at 58.7, Ethereum at 8.19, and ETH transactions are apparently free today. So We got Bitcoin coming in at 87,284 flat on the day. We got Ethereum at 2001, down 1%. We got XRP at 233, down 1.6%, still bleeding. Look at that. It's like the only thing. Well, I guess Tron's down a little bit, but XRP is the only thing down on the week. Super crazy. BNB at 635, down 2.3. Solana at 137 at 0.3. And John was telling me that crypto face is long, like $1 million long on Sol says it's only up from here, right? Ain't that what he said?
20x
20x.
leverage.
That's crazy. That's crazy. A million. Yeah, that's crazy. Dogecoin coming in at 1902, down 3.1. Cardano's up a smidge at 73.77, up 0.3. With Tron rounding out the top 10 at 23.34, up 0.6. SWE, speaking of SWE earlier, we're up to 17 now, John. We were in 18 when we checked earlier, but we're coming in at 278, up another 3.5%. Pretty much the biggest gainer, the biggest weekly gainer on in the top 20. And then if you're holding Avalanche, you're probably pretty happy about Avalanche because it's also up 17 on the week. So let's go into the biggest gainers. Barachain up 10%. Toncoin up 8. Chronos up another 7. Pi Network actually getting a little bounce up 4.3. SWE up 3.5. Maker up 2.7. And then it just kind of really falls off after there. Let's get the biggest losers. Mutable. So John and I were looking at this chart earlier. And when you look at price action, and there's been a lot more coins added to the ecosystem, but that is just a straight, if I could draw a line on this chart, that would just be a perfect freaking, you know what? Oh, it takes me to a new page. Never mind.
I'm going to draw a line on it.
Yeah, I hit the live chart, but it takes me to a new page. But yeah, so Immutable has just been bleeding. So when you change it to market cap, though, it did hit a new all-time high last year in March. And then this is the December run-up. Did not get another all-time high. And that brings me to my point that me and John were talking about earlier. When you guys are looking, can this coin hit a new all-time high? You really need to be looking at the market cap, because the market cap can hit a new all-time high in the coin, as proven here. It was like 6 or 931 right here. Well, this was the market cap all-time high right here, and it was only at 364. So you got to understand circulating supply, tokenomics, where now it's almost fully diluted. I bet it was probably half of that back here. Can you hear that? Somebody's car alarm going off in my neighborhood.
See, I can't hear the car alarm, but I can hear there are foxes that are mating right now where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
So it just sounds like people are yelling and screaming outside, like domestic disputes are ongoing or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know whose car alarm was going off. Somebody got locked out of their car. All right, let's go over here to CoinGlass real quick. So tomorrow, we all know tomorrow, the 28th, is the end of month, end of quarter, end of week, all that good stuff for TradFi. And when we're on Durbit, the max pain for Bitcoin is coming in. Oh, we're on Ethereum. On Bitcoin is going to be 85,000, and we're right there. A little 0.5% dump will get us down to 85,000, or a 1% dump will get us down to 85,000. Looking at Binance, we're coming in at 90, and OKX is 85.5, I believe. Yeah, 85.5. So we are right in the range of hitting that max pain where everybody loses money. Oh, they moved everything around. Here we go. Crypto Fear and Greed coming in the neutral, just out of fear, coming in at 44. So, I mean, it makes sense. You know, nobody's bullish. The volume shows that. So, tomorrow for the, we got a nice red folder here on Forex Factory. So, today the GDP came out and it was up 0.1%. You can see right here, actual came in at 2.4. We're forecast at 2.3. So, and this is an annualized change in the inflation adjusted value of all goods and services produced by the economy. So it's the gross, you know, the gross domestic product rose by 0.1. So that's good. Unemployment claims came in at 224, just under 225. You know, the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. So less people are oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm not even sure. You got to tell me I'm not sharing the screen, John.
I didn't realize that. I just felt like you were just running stuff off. I didn't know there was another screen.
No. So this is Forex Factory, forexfactory.com. I think everybody should look at this. It gives you all these, you know, red folders are like, you know, high impact expected on things. And then, you know, you got yellow and you got orange. So, you know, but this is what I was going over, the GDP. And then when you click on this little folder right here, it gives you a nice explanation of everything. And I think this is something that everybody that's into finance and crypto and everything, you guys should learn how to use this and read these, and it'll help you understand what these changes mean better. So this is the GDP. We already went over it, you know, up 0.1, good. Unemployment claims are down, you know, so the number of individuals who filed unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. So that's down. So less than forecast is good for currency. Up here, actual greater than forecast is good for currency. And tomorrow we have the core PCE price index coming in month over month. We're not expecting a change from last month. So previous was 0.3, forecast is 0.3. And this change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers, excluding food and energy. Okay, so this will be the number right here. So we don't want to see, I think we want to see this drop. Let's see, actual greater than forecast is good for currency, but we don't want that. We don't want it to come in greater. I don't know exactly how that works when it comes to the Fed's cutting. So it differs from core CPI in that it only measures goods and services targeted towards and consumed by individuals. Prices are weighted according to total expenditure per item, which gives important insights into consumer spending behavior. CPI is released about 10 days earlier and tends to garner the most attention. Okay. So why traders care? It's the Federal Reserve's primary inflation measure. Inflation is important to currency valuation because rising prices lead to central banks to raise interest rates out of respect for their inflation containment mandate. So I would think that a lower would lead to cuts. You know, this says raises, you know, so. But those are just some good things you guys should be looking at going into next week. What do we have? ISM manufacturing PMI, the JOLTS comes out again. We got non-farm payroll on Wednesday, Thursday, unemployment, ISM services. So that's about it. And that is your market update, everybody.
Excellent, man. So, you know, I've been talking about trying to check out Yahoo Finance every so often just to make sure that I'm connecting with what's going on in the outside markets. But Macy's and Kohl's close stores as they struggle to remain relevant. And I was just wondering, when's the last time that you went to a Macy's or Kohl's?
Kohl's I go to all the time. Macy's I only
Kohl's
go there when I'm in the valley. Yeah, I go to Kohl's all the time.
But I thought this was interesting. I didn't realize this was happening, but also it's kind of like It's to be expected. I mean, I expect the majority of physical stores, a lot of them are going to close because why would people go to a store physically when they can order Amazon and it'll be there in the evening? You order it in the
Right.
morning and it'll arrive at your doorstep in the evening. So I think that the way that stores and storefronts work is going to be very different going forward. And I'm kind of excited to see it. I don't really like going to the store too much anyways, but I do
You
like to
know,
see and feel something before I buy it.
that's what I was going to say. When it comes to clothing, it's like unless I know that particular brand and the way it fits, I always go to a store to buy it. You know what I mean? Because everything's
Yeah,
different, Plus, I'm a bigger dude. It's not like it just fits like a normal person. I can't just buy normal clothes. A 2X and a 3X are totally different between two different brands, So, but if
100%.
if it's clothes that I know, like if I need a new pair of Dickie shorts or something like that, I just go on Amazon because I already know it's the same every time. Kohl's
100%.
Weekly, Macy's when I have gift cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, we don't have a
I
Macy's
like
up
that
here.
because I feel the same way.
Yeah. When I'm in the valley, if I'm in the valley and I need to go clothes shopping, I'll stop by the Macy's over in Scottsdale or something like that. But we don't have a Macy's up here in Prescott. We have a Dillard's. That's
Oh,
about it.
I mean, Dillard's is good. I
Yeah, I
uh,
like
I have
Dillard's.
a couple of articles from or bookmarks from Twitter, so I'm gonna get
So
those
hold
up.
on.
Okay.
You just jumped right in
Oh,
here.
you're
You did
right.
no transition, no nothing.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Where's
All
our
right. So let's
transition?
get a word
The
from our.
people want
Let's
to
get a word.
know, bro. The people want to know. You're screwing them out of money by not allowing them to see this transition.
You're right. You're right. All right. So a word from our sponsors, and then we'll get into it. Join us at Rare Evo, the top blockchain conference, August 6th through 10th, 2025, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. The top blockchain projects like Algorand, Midnight, HBAR, ICP, Thorchain, and Igon, and many more are going to be there. This is definitely a must for blockchain enthusiasts and fans. Use discount code CryptoNightly to save on your tickets and to support the channel. Don't miss it. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be a blast.
And if you go, you can meet that donkey that John's in the photo with.
Yeah, I'm going to take it on the plane with me. That's the plan. That's the plan. All right, let's check out what's going on Twitter. And this is what I was talking about. So Ripple, Africa's payments landscape is evolving and crypto-enabled transactions are at the center. So Chipper Cash App and Ripple are teaming up to enable faster, more cost-effective cross-border payments into Africa using Ripple payments. So this I thought was pretty bullish, right? That was 17 hours ago. So I was surprised when you said the price is going down, right? And then here's another bullish news for Ripple. So Interactive Brokers, an exchange, adds Solana, XRP, ADA, and Doge to its crypto trading platform, right? So this is also bullish. So we got two bullish things right here and here. Over 400 South Korean officials revealed 9.8 million in crypto holdings, including BTC, ETH, XRP, and Doge. Right? So everything is bullish. Why isn't XRP pumping?
Yeah, I don't. It's just that part of the cycle where, you've said it before that the articles we were seeing during the bear market that weren't doing anything, when we start seeing them in a bull run are going to start to do something. Well, these articles ain't doing anything. So we're definitely in that bear trend, in my opinion.
100%. And I was joking and messing with you about your DNA with 23andMe following their bankruptcy. But SEI, I've heard that it's SEI Foundation. Somebody told me it's SEI. So SEI Foundation floats 23andMe acquisition. And today on LinkedIn, of all places, because I stalk all these people on LinkedIn, I saw that they actually made a bid for 23andMe.
Nice.
So the SEI Foundation made a bid on 23andMe. So they might get the genetic data and then be able to put it on the blockchain. And I'm not sure how they're going to use it, but SEI has a lot of interest in decentralized science. And they had a grant just a little bit ago that they were giving to people that had a problem or an idea for a DeSci project. So I think this is right up their alley. They seem to be a little bit more science-based, and I'm excited about that. What do you think about that?
I like it. I think it's definitely bullish. It would be awesome for that to be on for. I mean, it's the one step closer, right? Like how to get your medical information on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Well, if especially if they do it with the token gated portal, which
Yep.
obviously they're not going to do it like now. Like when I go to 23andMe, I got to log in with my email or whatever. But if it's like a token gated, or you got to have a wallet or something like that, I really like it. I don't know how that's going to help with the company, because the company was already bankrupt using Web 2 technology. I don't know how it's gonna shore up its losses. They're gonna have to do a lot of trimming. They're gonna have to trim a lot of fat and a lot of these extra R&D projects and stuff that 23andMe had going on.
Yeah, I kind of think that, like, I mean, I can just see it now, right? In the future, when the SEI Foundation drops their phone, you're going to get one. You're going to be one of the first ones to get one, and you'll just lick it. And then it'll open up for you, right? And it'll know that it's you with all your information customized to your settings based on your DNA preferences.
That'll be the biometric. So
Yeah.
when it asks you if you want to enable biometric data, it won't be a thumbprint anymore. It'll be
No,
a
it'll just
lick.
Yeah.
If it tastes like beer, it might be a good thing.
All right. And then I saw some interesting other articles. So US Justice Department seizes 201K in crypto that was earmarked for Hamas. Hamas supporters have used several seized wallet addresses to raise roughly 1.5 million in digital currencies for the militant group since October 2024. And so they were able to stop a couple $100,000 of it in crypto. I thought this was interesting because when you think of these groups like Hamas, you kind of think of people that are not that technologically advanced, right? You don't think of them, those groups necessarily being as plugged in to like the final frontier of the financial system, right? Protecting themselves from inflation. You just doesn't. I wouldn't think that they would have a Bitcoin white paper in there,
Just because they're terrorists doesn't mean they're not technologically savvy, sir.
Well, you're right. I mean, look, these guys, they look like they could watch TikTok. And they probably got cell phones over there. All right.
Right.
So then 16.5 billion in Bitcoin options expire on Friday. This is what you were talking about, right? This is the
Yep.
monthly clip. Will Bitcoin price soar above 90K? You were saying that the max pain is just below us, right? Just a little bit.
Well, Binance is at 90 is max pain. OKX is 85.5 and Durbit is 85. But I think if you add all, man, I already closed it. But if you add all of those exchanges together, I do believe the notional value is 16.5 billion or ish, because it's like 12 billion. It's like 12 billion on Durbit, a couple billion on Binance, and then a little less than a couple billion on OKX.
I think it has a much higher chance of hitting 90K since Binance is so massive. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones that would benefit the most, and also that's the
They
number
would
that it has
definitely
to hit.
benefit the most.
Yeah, that's the number
Definitely.
it has to hit for sure. So, you know, be careful out there, guys. Lots of stuff going on in this market, lots of uncertainty. And then this is one of the things that I was going off about earlier today. I tried to make a video, couldn't get it up. But basically, we were talking the other day about Wyoming and how Wyoming wants to have a state stablecoin, state issued stablecoin.
Right.
And so they have passed a lot of the motions to do that. Um, Now we have Senator Cruz here introducing the companion bill, and this is to prohibit the Fed from issuing a CBDC. But it also has wording in there against, and Tom Emmer is another person that was speaking out against the Wyoming stablecoin because they're basically trying to do a state CBDC, right? They turned down using Cardano to build the CBD, their stablecoin on, and the reason was because it didn't have C's and freeze, and this was something that Charles Hoskinson was very vocal about. He was very upset because Cardano has the infrastructure, and you can build anything on top of it. So you could do C's and freeze on top of Cardano, but because it's not inherent, they went with somebody else. So they want the C's and freeze. I mean, how do you feel about the C's and freeze? Tom Emmer says the Wyoming stablecoin is basically a CBDC by any other name.
Yeah, I mean it's exactly what it sounds like, bro. And the only to steel man, not that I want the season freeze, but just because Charles said that, you know, it can be built on top. Well, with the ERC-20, they can just like blacklist the wallet. I don't know if you can do that on Cardano.
You could you could write that into like your system, like into whatever, into the specific coin, right? Like into that specific token, you could write
but
it into
still
that.
goes in, but that coin would still go into, unless they created their own wallet also that had to be used, because it would still go into my Lace wallet or my Vesper wallet or whatever, you know what I mean? And I mean, I guess they could put that wallet on a blacklist, but I mean, they would just be a label. There's nothing they could really do to they can't like deactivate the wallet or anything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, with ERC-20 already having that capability, I think they can do that with the actual wallet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a slippery slope. We don't want to get to the social credit score. You know, you said something on Facebook, now you can't go buy food for the week type stuff. You know, that's kind of like the direction that I see that going. And it's crazy from a place like Wyoming to me to see that. You brought up this article and I liked it. I thought it was good. We like Senator Cynthia Lummis. Bitcoin could have US debt in 20 years, says the senator. And Michael Saylor and Cynthia Lummis, they've been on this about the US Bitcoin Reserve a lot, but most recently at the DC Blockchain Summit. And they were igniting and reframing Bitcoin as a strategic national asset, which, I mean, a lot of other countries have been looking at doing this, right? They're watching the US and now the US is doing it and putting it into action. I think it's one of the most bullish things that has ever happened in the history of crypto. And I can't understate that. I don't know what the macro economy is going to do over the next few years because there's a lot of uncertainties. But I think that this could be one of the biggest cycles, period. It could be the last epic cycle because I do see a land war probably happening. The trade war is already happening. We've been in an economic war for a long time. I think that a war to who can have the most Bitcoin is inevitable. And so I think we're going to see it in the short term because nobody wants to get left behind. And I mean, I'm excited. I think that we could see some crazy things never seen before here.
Right. And I've always said that, you know, I believe in the 4-year cycle until it doesn't work. But the way this cycle is moving, I think you could be right. I think this could be the last, like, this could be the 4-year cycle coming to an end. Now, I'm not saying this is going to extend into 26 or 27 or anything like that, but this could be the faltering of the 4-year cycle. You know, especially
End of it.
more and more TradFi, more and more ETFs, more and more. And we've even seen it. If you guys have paid attention over the past few years, I can't speak to prior to 2020, but if you've paid attention over this last cycle, how the flows, even though we're in a 4-year cycle, the waves within the cycle of the money flow is starting to mirror TradFi more and more and more. 23
Lots of
run up
manipulation.
Q3, Q4. 24 run up Q3, Q4. 25 run up Q3, Q4. You know?
Yeah. 100%. So, I mean, this is what we got going on here. I think it's pretty crazy. I saw this as well. I thought it was kind of interesting. So we have the Elizabeth Warren. She's slamming the SEC chair nominee for a potential crypto pre-bribe, is what she called it. They get her
A
actual
pre-bribe.
I was reading it earlier. Well, okay. There's no quote there, right there. Easy.
Pre-bribe, is that the announcement of an announcement?
Well,
Pre-announcement?
kind of. So what happened is apparently he owned a firm that dealt with crypto things and sold it, and so like is selling it, and so she's trying to say like, who are you selling it to? Like maybe that sale is the bribe. You know what I mean? Like if Binance were buying it at a price that's like way above the evaluation or something like that. So that's what Elizabeth
Right.
Warren is alluding to here. Questions about conflicts of interest. We've seen a lot of very, say, complicated financial business structures in this administration a little bit more because we have a lot of entrepreneurs and businessmen, that people that have a lot of different businesses and things going on. So like things can look pretty complicated. But
Right.
Elizabeth Warren, you know, she's always raising the alarm. Sometimes there's nothing to be raised while taking the money from massive banks. So it's a whole thing. It's kind of her shtick. It's what she does. But I think it is good to be skeptical of people that are taking positions of power as far as their interests, and making sure that they're not conflicts of interest, especially with something like the SEC chair. You don't, even though a lot of
But
them tend to be from Charles Schwab, you don't
right.
necessarily want to have people with blatant conflicts of interest
But that's like the MO of politicians. You know, you get in there, you get your Senate seat, you get your Congress seat, you know, you vote and put forth bills in a certain way, and then as soon as you leave, you get a job with Halliburton or Raytheon or Goldman Sachs, or you know what I mean? It's just how it is. I'm not saying it's right by any means, but that's just how it is. They all have ulterior motives. And when it comes to like Congress, especially since they're voted in every 2 years, I mean, what do they really get done? As soon as they get voted in, they're already working on their next election. You know, what are they really doing? So they're already, yeah, ulterior motives.
100%. Ulterior motives, 100%. So then this, you know, we always talk about these stories. They happen so much, and it's usually not a big deal. I think this is the first MicroStrategy announcement or announcement of an announcement that is maybe a big deal. So strategy here with our guy, Michael Saylor, has plans to, before the end of the year, double their Bitcoin holdings.
Their Bitcoin holdings?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Yeah, they already own a lot. But so they have plans to buy more. They want to double the amount that they have. And then so they're in this article, they're making price predictions for the MicroStrategy, the strategy stock to hit $600.
Right.
So I
And it
thought that
just
was,
had a split, didn't it? Didn't it just
yep,
split?
it did.
Wow.
And so I just thought these people are printing money, literally printing money. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so there we go. Michael Saylor, not just buying 1 billion, he's going to double his entire arsenal is what they're shooting for. That's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot of money. I mean, it's like every other week they buy $1 billion. So like I can't imagine being like, oh, it's only 100 billion or whatever it's gonna be. These people.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so this was actually okay. I found this other article. This was what Elizabeth Warren's direct quote was your clients pay you north of $1,200 an hour for advice on how to influence regulators like the SEC. And if you're confirmed, you will be in a prime spot to deliver for those clients who've been paying you millions of dollars for years. And she said, suggesting that Atkins' judgment will be influenced by more than an objective assessment of the data. And I mean, yes.
Kind of like all
sure.
the banks that donate to her
Yes,
reelection,
that
right?
give her millions of dollars to go speak at their private events that are
Right.
mining and
Exactly.
100%. It's the pot calling the kettle black, and we love it.
Exactly.
So this is what Elizabeth Warren does. You know, Pocahontas, as some people have called her. But we'll let that go. Those are the main articles, the top articles that I have. Basically, I mean, Tether acquires 30% stake in an Italian media company called B Water. And so I just don't know what to read from that. Right. So for the most part, that's what we got.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. There was a comment. Fozzie, is Mountain Shadow still in Scottsdale? I don't know. I don't go to Scottsdale that often. If I go to the mall in Scottsdale, I go to the Fashion Square, Scottsdale Fashion Square.
All
But
right.
yeah, I don't know if Mountain Shadows is still there.
So then now we're going to get into charts. We're going to see some of the movements and things that are going on, and we will reset the room.
That's right. Do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. PST. Let's do it. Introducing the relaunch of JPEG Boss Mint, a game changer in the NFT world. This isn't just another mint. It's a community-governed project where you hold the power. Here's the deal. 50% of all mint funds fuel a community investment wallet controlled by boss holders like you, driving collective growth. The proceeds, 60%, go straight back to active participants, rewarding your engagement. 20% powers overhead and expansion. And the final 20% flows to JPEG Empire until the seed funding's repaid. Join the revolution, mint with purpose, govern the future, and reap the rewards. And speaking of that, the mint goes live tomorrow. John, do we have a specific time?
That's a good question because it is midnight, I believe.
Oh, so tonight, here in about 6 hours, about 5 hours.
Yes. What's up, Third Patriot? You missed all of the news.
Yeah.
MicroStrategy is gonna double up on their bags before the end of the year. So like we got tired of talking about MicroStrategy because they always buy $1 billion, but now they're trying to double their entire bag by the end of the year. So I think that's bullish.
And unfortunately, XRP is going to zero. Third Patriot, sorry.
Well, we had like 3 consecutive bullish articles on XRP, but the price keeps going down.
Yeah. But unlike XRP, Bitcoin on the 4-hour. So we drew this last night. Actually had it more in a flag, but then it started tightening. So I changed it into this triangle, and we're getting ready to do something. It's getting ready to break. We got till about, let's see, we bring this out. Let's extend these out a little bit. So
Shout out to Daniel. Pump his bags.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. So this brings us out to about Sunday. By Sunday, something is going to break on XRP. We're either dumping or we're pumping. And the pump to the upside takes us to about 92.2. What's that?
You said XRP when it's Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, my bad. Bitcoin. You see this circle right here that I drew? We are getting ready to form a golden cross on the 4 hour. The momentum in the VWAP has been real tight down here for the past day. So this is from yesterday. Ever since yesterday, we came down, tried to bounce, couldn't, and everything's been real tight. We are getting back above the 21 on the 4 hour, and then we have that bullish cross. And this got about 2 hours and 20 minutes left in the candle. So I'm still waiting to see that. I think we're going to get a pump. I think they're going to bang the close tomorrow. And I would say, be careful. I will say be careful for sure, because low liquidity Fridays, but we've had low liquidity all week. I don't think we broke 100 billion in volume all week. So it's definitely been low. That means the price can move quickly either way. If there's no like counter to it. If the order books are lopsided, it's going that way. That's all there is to it. So looking at the daily, so we did put in another green candle. So we had, orange. We had red, and today we put in a green candle, and then we are starting another green candle right now on the daily, which is nice. We still got the money flow curve into the upside. Your VWAP started to come down, but it had that inward curve, so it's flattening out. I would expect that to go back up to the upside. Only thing that makes me a little nervous, your momentum wave is getting pretty high, but something like the daily on Bitcoin, if we go on a 2 or 3 week run, this can stay up here and it'll bounce. If we look back, so like when we were running right here, we stayed, up, we came down a little bit, pump, boom, and then we stayed up in this area and we slowly tapered off right here as the price went up, creating that bearish div to where we eventually just dumped, and then we come back up and then we dump again. So we can stay in this area for quite some time, but that's kind of really the only thing giving me pause right now. We are above the 200. We've been above the 200 for a while. The 21 is starting to curve, so that's going to be even more bullish. If we can get something like this, where did my brush go? So we get the 200 just kind of continues on this path, right? And then the 21 slowly cross, and then maybe we get price action, boom, 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 retest the 21 where it crosses, and then off to the races through April, cool off in May, sell in May, walk away, have a down summer, and then back in Q3, Q4. That's my hope. That's, we shouldn't use it should, or I think, or stuff like that. But my hopium is pumping through April, and then we start to get that correction in May, that sell in May, walk away type of area. And then we're down June, July, August. We get a little bit better September, and then we start that Q3, Q4 run to bang out the rest of the year. That is kind of where my mind is at when it comes to the market. And I could be totally wrong. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. The trend is up. Unless this turns into a major bear flag, the trend is up. So that is good. Let's look at SWE though. Man, SWE has just been putting in work. So we gave this trade out last night. Actually, I'm too high up. So we gave this trade out last night. This cup, is this where it was? Hold on 1 second. Okay. So this is the trade we gave out last night. We were talking about this last night. And look, this is similar to the pattern Bitcoin is in. You know, if we went back to the Bitcoin chart, just like this is the 15-minute, right? And boom, we were talking about this. And I told you my first take profit was at 275 and the target was 283.09, right? And this was at 1733. So this was, what time do we have on the 1847? So it was about 25 hours ago. And I posted this, or I took the screenshot and then we posted it, right? So we come back to the chart and boom. So this was the pattern we had drawn right here. And it just shot up right to the target. And then it came back down. Then we went back to the target. And now we're in this area in between. So this is twice now that that SWE has gotten us above this target. We were in this cup and handle before. I told you we break 248, 247, and we're going to 262. Boom, break that SR level, shot right to 262, retrace, bounce. We form another flag. We break 262's SR level. Boom, right to 283. So now the question is, are we about to repeat this process? And if the momentum stays with SWE, I think we very well could. And when we do that, when we go out here to the 1 hour, so we do have a little bit of a SR level here at $3, plus it's a psychological level. So $2.99, $3, 301, that area. But the next major one is at 318. If we go out to the daily, there we go. Boom. So right here at 318, we got this high volume. Nope. Right here at 318 is the next major volume node. But we do have this little blip. If you guys can see that, we do have this little blip at about the $3. But other than that, there's not a lot. You know what I mean? We shot, when we went up, we just shot. Boom. Took a stop. Boom. Took a stop. Boom. Kept going, right? And then on the way back down, we started to hit a couple of these things. We bounced off the $3 range right in here. We wicked to it right in here. We finally fell through it. It acted as resistance a couple times. We bounced back up to 318, fell all the way back down, and then $3 acted as resistance again. If you can see that. See that wick right there? Boom, got us back to $3. Couldn't take it. So I do, if we are able to get us above 283, I expect us to go to 318 with a stop at $3. So like if I was long in this, as a matter of fact, I need to have a freaking oh, I don't want it on the daily though. I have to change that. I do want an alarm on this. So boom, just like that. Always set alarms, guys, because you can't stare at the chart all day, every day. And the SR levels going up are going to be your same SR levels coming down. You know, there's a point. It's a support and or resistance level. So it either acts as a floor or a ceiling, right? So if we get a break on the 1 hour, if we can break above 283, you know, and establish a candle, 1 or 2, you know, that's where I'll be going down to my smaller time frames, coming down to like the 5 minute, the 12 minute, and looking to see where we're at to open along. And that would be my move. My take profit would be 318 with my first take profit at $3 probably a couple pennies below that, probably 298 and 316 or something like that. And that, I mean, it's the simplest way, especially if you're waiting for if you're doing the 200 and the 21. And if we go, I think the daily is, yeah, see the 200 on the daily is right above $3. And we've already made it past the 4 hour. Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice that till just right now. Look at that. We're getting ready to get the perfect setup on the 4 hour. You see, we break through the 200, we bounce around and we're gone, right? Well, we've gapped the 21. So you have to expect us to come back down and kind of retest this 21. And then that's going to be we come back down, we retest it. That's going to be your launch pad. What's going on? Was it showing my screen the whole time? John?
Yeah, I'm seeing your screen.
On my side, it blanked out. So this is what I'm looking for on SWE. Huh?
No, yeah, I see it. I saw you writing on it and everything.
Okay.
It never went away from me.
All right, cool. So this is what I'm looking for on SWE. Get rid of that. Let's check out Cardano. Cardano has been so disappointing. So disappointing in the price action. Look at this. We just can't get any kind of toehold above 74 cents. You know, we tried, we were there a couple days and we just lost it, right? We tried a couple days and we just lost it. You know, we just can't seem to get above it. And today, so yesterday morning, we lost the 200 on the 4 hour. We stopped at 74 and then all the way back down to 72. And since 9 a.m. on the East Coast or on the West Coast yesterday, we have been fighting to get back above 74. It looks like we're at 74.1 right now. Once we get some volume on Cardano, once we get people interested and we break this, you know, with a little bit of gusto, we're going to 81. But now the problem is you have to worry about 77 cents because on the 4 hour, we have a lot of action right here. We got this node right here, right? So you got that. That's our local top, you know, from yesterday. And you come back, we have wicks to it back on the 9th. We have price action back on the 9th also. You know, we have a lot of action right in here at 77 cents. Boom, boom, boom. So this is a very strong SR level for Cardano at 77. And we have to break that. But if we can put a couple on this one, I would think, oh, see, look, you know, we might get a break tonight. We might pump tonight. We got the 15-minute. See, it broke the 200 and it pumped. Now it's coming back to retest. We got the 21 getting ready to come up. I'm kind of liking this setup right here because we lost the 15 yesterday. When's the last time we broke through on the 15-minute? Way back here. And that looks extremely similar to what we're doing right now. Look, we pump through the 200. We come back as the 21's crossing. Boom. We hit and we just, like a launch pad, boom, all the way up. And this is, I mean, that was a 5% move, 10x leverage. That's 50%. You know, if we go all the way to the top of the move, you know, if you hold, you break SR and you're still holding, you're in this long right here. You know, from this move to the very top was 10%. And then you can see we lost the 21 and it just collapsed, right? And then once we lost the 200, we really collapsed. So I think we are actually getting ready to set up a nice little bullish. I will definitely be watching this tonight. If I see anything specific, I will put it in the chat. Let's look at the 5-minute. See, and this is what I mean by volume. Look, so this is on Binance, right? This is on Binance, one of the biggest order books there is. Okay. And you see all these breaks, right? See how it's not smooth? That's a volume thing. There's not enough volume. You know, you look at so anybody that's been on Tap Tools, you've been on Tap Tools, you're checking out these CNTs, and you'll be on the 5-minute, and it'll be like a spike, and then like dot, 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 and then a drop, and dot, 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 and then a spike. It's because there's no volume. There's nothing's going on, right? It's just flat. So that's where all these breaks are right here. So like, you know, the price action stopped right here, but then the next candle was just this little bit because somebody finally bought some Cardano, and then nothing else happened. And then somebody finally bought Cardano again, and it popped up to here. And the only way to smooth that out is switching to the Heikin-Ashi candles right here. But yeah, so that's what I mean by like, there's just nothing going on. Because, you know, when you look at Bitcoin and you go all the way down to the 1 minute, right? Because Bitcoin is constantly being traded, constantly. I mean, we have a little gap right there in this one, you know, constantly. You go to SWI. SWI's apparently constantly being traded. This is on MEXC. You know, XRP constantly being traded on MEXC. But you look at the Cardano on Binance, and it's a ish show. So, but I definitely, and then XRP, I just don't know what's going on with XRP. We look at this. We pulled the fib the other day, right? Now, excuse me. We were bouncing around in the golden pocket yesterday, or today. We're bouncing around, or right here. This is yesterday when we were talking. We had bounced around in the golden pocket. Well, we lost it. We wicked down to the 786, and then now we're losing it again. So if the 786 can't hold, which that's your accumulation zone is your 786 fib retracement. If that can't hold, man, I mean, we come back down to this SR level at 223. We could even come down to the 1-to-1 ratio, which is, you know, right back here to back on Tuesday, the 18th, where this impulse pump started, right? So I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. You know, it seems like XRP is kind of like Cardano. It's flat, it's flat, it's ranging, it's flat, it's flat, it's flat. Something happens, boom, it takes off, right? And then it just stays there. Flat, flat, ranging, ranging. You know what I mean? Because you don't want the range, you want the breakout. Ranges are for scalping, breakouts are for bigger trades. You know, so you can scalp this range between 234 and 248, right? You know, you can play that bounce up and down, and scalp in there. But you want the breakout. You know, you want this breakout at 248, boom, bringing us back to 271. And then it may range in between range. And then you want that breakout again, boom, from 271, bringing us all the way back up to 329. You know, that's what you want to play. So I like playing the smaller time frames because you scalp on small time. In my opinion, you scalp small times. You longer intraday or interday trades are on your bigger time frames. So that's what I got. So hopefully, you know, let's see. No, Cardano's still not doing, it's just sitting there. It seems like it'll just sit there forever. SWI, not really doing nothing right now. So, but that's what I got, folks. And the trend is your friend. And it seems like the past 3 nights, SWI has pumped overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So I may put some kind of low leverage, no stop loss trade on SWI, you know, because I don't want to get wicked out. and then have it pump. It was bad enough last night. I was telling John earlier. I told you guys last night that I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna get into the trade. Well, I got into the trade. I set my take profit at 283. I forgot to set my first take profit at 277. It shot through my first take profit, wicked to like 282.8, and then came back down. But luckily, I was able to catch it when it was coming. I woke up and I was still in profit. So I closed that trade, let it drop, reopened, and then I've been scalping SWE throughout the day. But I could have had that big move, and that freaking pisses me off.
Man, I mean, yeah, I think things are moving. I think we're about to see something exciting. I mean, what you said about the Bitcoin decision coming up very soon, I think that's inevitable. I also think that I don't know. I feel bullish, at least for April. You know,
exciting and bullish are not synonymous.
Well, exciting. I think that there'll be some exciting.
Something exciting could definitely happen, but it may not be bullish.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. We have a lot of stuff going on in the macroeconomic world. But thank you guys. Thank you everybody for joining us. We come to you live every day, Monday through Friday, bringing you the daily news nightly. And we put a lot of effort into it. So we appreciate all the people that are liking and sharing and seeing your beautiful PFPs every night. Brings us happiness to our heart. So that's what we got. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. PST. And peace. Touch grass.
That's right.